What's going on? Hello everyone, Ryan here, and today I'm going to be doing a review of the new Calvin Harris album titled Funk Wave Bounces Volume 1. Calvin Harris is a worldwide known DJ, producer, electronic producer, EDM maker. This guy has been at it for years. I remember when he first started out, he was only really big in the UK, did those kind of throwback 80s jams, which were kind of fun, but they were really cheesy as well. But then he progressed on to EDM, making bangers, dance songs that progressed with the times, and he managed to keep himself relevant in the mainstream with pretty much every single release he made. I can't say I've been a huge fan of Calvin Harris previously. He's had a couple of okay singles. I think We Found Love was pretty decent, but usually, the drops, the EDM kind of influence on his songs has always taken it away from me personally. I've just not really found that much to like from it. However, though, his latest singles were really showing a complete change of pace from Calvin Harris. They were much more low key. It wasn't like they were bangers. They weren't completely filled with like drops that just fell out of place, and it wasn't like he was making music for the clubs anymore. It was clear that from these singles he was taking much more of an influence from funk and that kind of breezy, summery sound that was very laid back and chill, and a little bit from like that chill wave sound actually that was popular about 7 or 8 years ago. For me though, I kinda got bored of this style for the full length of this album, to be honest, which is a bit strange because it is only 36 minutes, but after like 4 or 5 songs I felt like he'd done everything he could do with the sound, and then it just kind of fell off track and just went in a bit of a bland direction. To be honest, for me, it kind of sounds like Calvin Harris listened to like 3 or 4 funk albums and thought I could do that too, and then just basically lazily put together an album that didn't really push too much in the funk direction, and it kind of sounds like funk for beginners. It's like funk music for people that don't really listen to funk music and have never gone back to the 70s or 80s to listen to that amazing funk sound, and what they get instead is just this kind of like mainstream artist doing the funk sound, and it's just kind of not that great really. The best example of this is definitely the track Heatstroke, which I actually enjoyed at first, but the more I've listened, the more I absolutely hate that chorus. Oh my god. This track features Pharrell on the hook. He does this usual falsetto, which sometimes sounds great, but other times it sounds unbearable, and this is a moment where it sounds unbearable. Ariana Grande does sound nice on the track, of course. She usually puts in a nice vocal performance, but we have Young Thug, who doesn't even sound like Young Thug. It's so weird. It's like he's completely ditched his weird, eccentric style just to fit onto this song, and I don't know why he did that. There's also the track Rollin', which has no pace to it whatsoever. It has these slow hand claps in the background, and again it's got that funk sound which really doesn't do much for me. And Khalid is on the track, who sounds okay I guess, but he doesn't really add anything special to his vocal performance. And of course Future is on here, and I've spoken my opinion on Future before. I haven't really changed it for this song. Holiday is another song which doesn't have a particularly good hook. John Legend this time on the hook, but it's pretty bland and it doesn't fit the instrumental at all. I don't think it sounds kind of mixed in quite badly with the holiday. And again, this instrumental is another kind of empty one for me. It just does nothing. It's too laid back, I think. And of course Snoop Dogg is on this song. He always brings in that laid back vibe, but it's just too laid back. It's like too laid back to the point where there was no effort put in. Take Off from Migos has a pretty good verse on this track, and speaking of Migos, they do appear on the opening track Slide, which also has Frank Ocean on. Now this was the opening song from the whole album, which came out months ago, but I absolutely love this track, to be honest. I think Frank Ocean sounds great. The Migos members are rapping on this song, who also sound great. I think the instrumental is probably the best on this track in comparison to the whole album, and I still think this is a great song. And I've spoke about Pharrell already, and he also makes another appearance later in the album on Feels, which also has Katy Perry on the song. And this is actually a pretty good song too. I do think Pharrell sounds a lot better on this track. Katy Perry adds a nice little vocal feature as well. Oh, and Big Sean appears at the end of the track and surprisingly sounds quite decent for a Big Sean verse. Cash Out is a pretty damn good track too, mostly because of Schoolboy Q's feature. I do like him on this track, he fits the instrumental pretty nicely. Nicki Minaj does her usual thing later on in the album too. She sounds pretty good on the track Skirt on Me. But other than that, there's not much else I can say that I like about this album really. Faking It features Kalani. I don't like Kalani's vocals at all, so I'm not into this song except for when Lil Yachty comes in, because on that instrumental it's a bit more up-paced, it's faster paced should I say, and Lil Yachty actually sounds quite good on this. He did this on his last album as well. He had a track with Diplo and that was like a banger, and surprisingly Lil Yachty came through on that track sounding quite good to me, and he does it again here, so maybe he should do more of these kind of instrumentals more often. Oh, and the closing track, Hard to Love, the most boring song on the entire album. I don't know why you would end on this kind of song. It's just, no. So, I don't know what to say really about this album. It's kind of strange because for a Calvin Harris album, I'm kind of impressed with how much I came away liking a lot of the tracks, but I still think it's being a bit overhyped. I mean, as decent as it is at points, there are still so many moments like it just doesn't work at all. There's so many potholes in the track list. It's like there's too much meh here. So despite the good songs as an album as a whole, I get bored of the style and sound that he tries. Too quickly. After 4 or 5 songs, I'm pretty much done. The instrumentals aren't anything special. He's playing with a funk sound which isn't really done to the best it could be. It's been done way better many years ago, and even fairly recently as well. There are still funky songs that come out that sound fantastic. Try Dame Funk or even Bruno Mars, but this is just a bit meh. So I would give this a D+. It's kind of okay at points, but I would say skip it really. It's nothing great. Maybe Calvin Harris can improve this sound next time, but for now it's nothing special at all. If you like this review though, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel for more reviews, and have a good day.